The thoughts, views, and opinions expressed by this podcast, as well as its hosts, are for entertainment purposes only. The viewpoints expressed, although based on very real topics, are not to be taken as fact. With that being said, enjoy the show.
Hello, world. Hello, world. Hello, world. Welcome to Pardon the Politics podcast. We back. I'm back. Really? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hello, world. Welcome to Pardon the Politics podcast. We back. I'm back. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Really? Pardon the Politics podcast.
Hello, world. This is not Jeezy. It's your chairman of Kenya. Really? Coming to you with Pardon the Politics, episode 23. No, he's not in the corner. He's on my side. I got my good guy, Manny. Manny, how you feeling today, my brother?
Man, I'm doing great. I mean, I'd have felt a little better if the Canes would have figured out a way to pull it out in double overtime.
Listen.
But
and normally we would probably pause that, pull it out, but it's June. Shout out to Pride. So there'll be no pausing. Let it hang. As far as the Canes, I have documented evidence of this. At 10:02 in our group chat, I put the Canes about to make the greatest comeback in Stanley Cup history. And they almost made me look like the most prophetic man walking this earth. No Joel Osteen. And
it was so close. I was just like, what is happening?
3 goals in 39 seconds was insane. But that goal to lose in overtime was the most improbable, craziest.
But in overtime in an NHL game, it's going to be, if it doesn't happen, I think all your pretty overtime goals happen in that first 5 minutes of overtime. A little bit of energy, like, let's try to end this. So if it doesn't happen in that first 5 minutes, it's going to be an ugly goal, random breakaway, somebody stick breaks, and then they off to the races on a 2-on-1. It's going to be one of those situations. So,
but to hit it, to do a slap shot, it hits off the backboard, ricochets off the player, and then off the back of the pad. He had no chance.
The goal. None.
He had no chance.
Boosie came in for the Canes and played lights out in Game 3.
Insane. It hadn't played in 2 months.
Right. And what I think it was in that is, they did the goalie change at the start of the third. And I think when he stopped that penalty shot, they got them back in there. Like, we got to do it. If he's going to be out here going all out, we can at least do the same.
I will say that got them excited. The first goal was like, okay, it's about time. When they got that second goal, they was like, oh nah. And then when the third one, they was like, okay. And then
we can do this.
It was crazy. But this is not a sports podcast, although I could turn it into one. This is a political podcast, and as we said, this is episode 23. Shout out to Michael Jordan. No LeBron James. LeBron James. Speaking of with that, we have the NBA Finals too. That has been a pretty good barn burner. Game 3 coming on on Monday night, and there's some political controversy there.
Yeah. It never stops, man. You remember when we could just watch sports?
What happened to keep politics out of sports and sports out of politics? Just stick to sports. That's what they had said.
They had, big thing. Dribble the basketball.
Dribble, just shut up and dribble. But Donald Trump will be visiting Game 3, according to reports.
Yeah.
The word is that James Dolan had invited him. And here's my thing there. To me, it shows a high disregard for the locker room, for the fans. As James, I put it like, let me say this. James Dolan doesn't care. He's never cared. So let's be clear there. He's never cared. But it would be one thing if Donald Trump said, hey, I want to pull up. I want to come to the game. And as president of the United States, you're not going to tell him no.
Right.
So but to send an open invitation, hey, come to the game.
I mean, I'm gonna take a step back and look at this holistically. First, I'm gonna look from Trump's side. If I'm president of the United States, just believe. I'm going to Final Four. I'm going to the Super Bowl. I'm going. This is not on Trump.
Events. This is not a knock on Trump at all. Because I would be the same way. I'm pulling up on everything.
But here's what I don't know. Again, if I owned a team, I would probably send an invite to the president every year. Even if I'm in the NBA, I'm probably going to send the invite. This is probably the first time. I think this might be the first time that we're hearing about somebody going. Again, out of all the considerations of it, because I just think about, to your point, I just think about how much it's going to inconvenience fans. Oh,
they've already sent out a memo. Be there at a minimum of 2 hours early. They've already sent that out.
And that is probably super generous because of
don't
all
tell
the
me to
security, everything that's going to be shut down around. If you're not making your way to, again, you guys listening the day of the game, but if you're not making it your way over to the game right now,
listen,
right, you might as well throw those tickets up on TickPix.
Have you seen the cheapest ticket to that game?
I think at last I checked, it was like 7,000.
Yes. Like last I saw, it was like $7,400. At $7,400, don't tell me to get here 2 hours early, bro.
I need to be ushered to my seat.
The floor seats are $100,000.
Absolutely not. And it's
floor seats. And maybe, now, I'm not gonna be a hypocrite. If I had it like that, I would be
in the building.
I would be there.
I know who's going to be there. Spike Lee.
Oh,
Spike Lee.
But he's going to be there with his season tickets. That's not like that. That's a separate allocation.
Fair
from just the person who wants to purchase a ticket and pull up. But still,
that's wild.
That's wild.
That's wild.
But this is not a sports podcast. But there's some politics in that. But yeah, this is episode 23. Shout out to our good brother Jeezy, who is not able to join us on today. Sending him love and support. You know, as we always say, not only active but present. And so fatherhood and family duties call. So with that, the show must go on, man.
Yeah. And we got to finalize the name. You know, you and G's were the NWO. What are we?
Oh, man. Well, we got so many directions to go,
so many different turns that could take.
Let's go hiding in delirium.
You know, and while we figure this out, I'm going to turn this on our listeners. You guys are listening to podcasts. You guys have heard me and Chuck. What do y'all want to call this when it's just me and Chuck?
Nerdcast, nerd out. Because I have a topic right now that we could destroy the foundation of this podcast, and not in destroy as far as ruin the podcast, but go completely
we go in a different
left.
direction. We go in a completely for our listeners. we have been trying to start recording this podcast today, I would say at this point for at least
45 minutes.
45 minutes.
Yes.
Keep getting distracted.
Talking about
other topics.
other topics, other things that have nothing to do with politics.
None whatsoever.
At all. But we're not gonna cause y'all to suffer.
We'll say
glee.
That'll be another podcast for another day. But for our first topic today, your cowards of Congress decided to finally do something.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean,
I guess.
I guess we'll hop into how effective it is. But there was late at night. There was a reconciliation bill about $70 billion. So the bill was put to really handle funding for DHS. So the Senate passed Reconciliation 2.0 about 4:47 Friday morning at a 52 to 47 voting lines during an 18-hour Voterama. Lisa Murkowski, which should not be a shock to anybody at this point, voted no on it. The bill funds ICE and Border Patrols through January 2029, and that date rings a bell for me. I can't exactly put my finger on it.
What is going on in January 2029? I don't know.
I think they
when y'all
just
figure it out, let us know.
Let us know. But there's a lot of things in it, but there's also a lot of things that are not in it, and we'll get to that in a little bit. And Chuck, my first question for you is, what do you think of it?
First and foremost, I am shocked that a lot of those individuals were able to sustain an 18-hour session. Like, I can tell you, me personally, send my vote in via proxy or something.
Can I send an email? Is there a poll in the chat I can just vote through?
Anything. Tell me when y'all going to schedule a vote. Call me. I'll wake up. Because first off, those chairs in the chamber does not look like they could be very comfortable.
Chuck, I've had the opportunity in my time in politics to go directly onto the floor in both chambers of commerce chambers of Congress. Yeah. And the cool thing I would say about them is like when you open the desk, like they open like old school desk, they actually, people scratch their names into them. So it's like, so you remember how we used to get those
Manny
textbooks?
was here.
Yep. You get those textbooks like, oh man, this such and such had this book 4 years ago, and now I'm using the same book. So they have that going on. But then they have those chairs that are not comfortable.
I can only imagine.
And I'm a big guy. I question its structural integrity of some of these chairs after an 18-hour session.
Man,
again, I just have questions.
I have a lot of questions, but from a standpoint of effectiveness, I'm really at an impasse, honestly. Like they did it. Was it the most I was gonna say beneficial, but not beneficial. Was it the most efficient and efficient way of going about doing it? No. Not at all. As we continue to press forward, we see that the aspect of Doge and cutting the waste of federal spending was a farce.
And I think we knew that from the jump. We knew it was just we knew it. But our folks raise us, take people for their word when they first tell you. What DMX say? I trust everyone. I just don't trust the devil inside them.
That's a fact. Or the devil outside of them.
Bro. Trust people to be exactly who they show you they are.
Indeed.
And I think that's part of my issue with it is one group of people did also proceed to show us who they are. And I think, and that's the Dems. Like,
Yeah.
I'm using hootin' and hollering. I think that's what lands for me.
Hootin' and hollering.
Hootin' and hollering. Y'all did all that hootin' and hollering and carrying on, and y'all didn't get anything. Judicial warrant requirements before ICE can forcibly enter homes, not in there. Mandatory body cameras worn by ICE and Border Patrol agents, not in there. Ban on mass federal agents, nope. Enforcements at sensitive locations, so we're talking schools, hospitals, churches, nope. The SAVE Act kind of blocked, so for now.
So?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What y'all get? Y'all got nothing from this.
Nothing.
And
they got
I
punked.
think
That's what they got. They got punked. Again.
And I think the strategic part of it goes back to that January 2029 date. Because Republicans basically said, what's not going to happen is we're not going to have this fight again while this president's in office.
And, although we did not directly say this when they came to the compromise previously to be able to fund and then we'll come back and bring this back up.
Yeah.
We kind of alluded to this. We didn't say it directly, but we kind of alluded to y'all just did this to kick the can down the road and you're not going to get anything.
Yeah. And we called it. We knew the play. We've seen this. Now, people will argue, here's the counterpoint. What did Democrats got things adjacent to that. They got the ballroom funding stripped out of it. I mean, yes, technically, but that was Republicans putting a stop to it because it's becoming a liability.
Stripped out of it does not kill it.
Also facts. The 1.7, sorry, we'll round it, $1.8 billion compensation fund that, again, we've said it every week and we'll continue saying that I have been oppressed by the government since Barack Hussein Obama. Hussein. I've been oppressed. So as soon as that fund comes live, I'm applying because we've been oppressed. But that's gone. And I wouldn't even say it's completely gone. It's probably partially gone. But again, that's Republicans pulling the plug on it. If not, the legal process was getting ready to yank that out.
Yep.
So
and to speak to that real quick, Trump didn't care
at all.
He never cared
at all. He got what he wanted.
And when they said, "Oh, you got to kill this," well, do I still get my prize out the Cracker Jack box?
Right. Y'all still not going to look at my stuff, right?
Although that's not completely firm.
Not at all.
However, the legal wranglings that it has to go through before they even approach it, he's fine with that right now.
Yeah. He's played a long game.
Yeah.
He's like, how many things can I blow up in between now and then to get y'all redirected on something else before we hit this?
This whole second term of presidency has been that. It's been the bait and switch. It's been the, aha, look over here.
Yep. I'm making my thumb disappear. Like,
I pulled a quarter from behind your ear.
Here it goes.
But you didn't see the quarter in my hand.
Yep. And it's, again, all of this to get largely nothing for the Democrats. And I think the question now, it still has to get through the House. Yes. What will happen in the House? I don't know. Because I think they're kind of in a weird situation as well and what they will do with this. Because, again, one of the biggest differences in the House and the Senate is that everyone has to run every 2 years. So only a third of the Senate has to answer to a voting public right now.
Yeah.
Everybody has to answer in the House. And Mike Johnson, he's got to be. It's him and Marco Rubio had to probably be the top two most stressed people in D.C. because they always trying to wrangle something.
I almost said something, but I remember what month it was. Yeah, Mike Johnson. The House is really the most. You know what the House reminds me of? It reminds me of a TV show on Bravo.
Ooh, which
Pick
one?
one. You pick one. Pick one.
Throw all the names in a hat.
Put them in a hat. Pull out the name, and that's what it. It's a reality TV show in the House.
Yeah.
It's a cluster in the House. You don't know what you're gonna get.
You don't.
You really don't.
And it keeps getting more and more unstable as these primaries start shaking out. More and more unstable. So you don't know. So this could look vastly different after it goes through the House. To break down kind of what's in this bill, one of the things that really stood out to me is that there is $7.5 billion for ICE recruitment. It is the single largest ICE recruitment appropriation in the history of the U.S., in the history of the agency. And from my understanding, the goal is to really try to expand that enforcement capacity before the midterms. And again, that's problematic. How are they getting trained?
Well, not just that. Can anybody tell me, has anybody received their bonus?
Oh, them sign-on bonuses?
Because if you were recruiting me, and I seen all the reports that came out that said these folks have not received not the first penny, and they don't even make pennies anymore.
Right.
They have not received the
RIP.
first RIP Abe Lincoln on the copper top. But anyway, they have not received any of the loan cancellation that they offered in the recruitment bonus package. Are you going to allocate some of this money to pay these folks their bonuses?
Yeah.
Like, what is this recruitment budget for? I mean, I know what you told us, but you know what? I'm giving people too much credit because you know there's going to be folks that still run their happy tail over there.
Yep.
And sign up and believe the lie and believe, you know, the pomp and circumstance and the smoke put before them, and jump on board. Yeah, unfortunately.
And I think it's rough. And I think if you look at the state of how our government sits at this standpoint, more things are getting ready to come through. Because again, how they did this is not the purpose of a reconciliation. Reconciliation is designed for tax and spending adjustments, not to like set up permanent infrastructure or semi-permanent infrastructure that doesn't have to go through a regular budget process. And I think because things are so divided at this point, all you can hope for, and this is either party, let's say it flips, like you're going to be fighting in the Senate just to get to 51.
And you know, Manny, this is one of my biggest gripes with how they're handling things now during this, not just with this, but in the past. I'll give them, this has been 10 years, man. Well, no, not 10. That's too many. I'll give them in the past 6, 7. I hate it. I did that. In the past 6 years, trying to circumvent a lot of the structural things that have been set up in Congress where things have to go through committee and go through different points of conversation and discussion so that when you hammer out a resolution, it's had so many touch points that you at least feel like it's gone through the necessary process.
Yep.
Nowadays, you're bypassing committee. You're bypassing the necessary aspects of debate, the necessary aspects of review. These are documents that are hundreds of pages.
Yeah.
First and foremost, if you don't know, these members of Congress are not reading through these.
Absolutely.
Generally. Every once in a while in the wild blue yonder, somebody will say that they read through hundreds of pages.
Your
I don't believe
Rand
them.
Pauls in these situations are anomalies, not the
Very much so. Very much
not
so.
the exception. They're the exception to the rule. They are not the rule in
Yes.
any capacity.
Generally, there's a staffer who has gone through these. But when you're bypassing committee and you're jumping right to the floor for a vote, you're putting these staffers up against the clock to be able to thoroughly go through these documents and provide the elected official with the necessary information that they need to be able to, one, argue for or against, and then make a sound decision. A lot of this is going off of somebody wants me to do this, so I'll do that on their behalf.
Yeah.
There's no sound decision being made. And that's my biggest problem with a lot of things that is getting pushed through and rushed through is where is the checks and balances? What have I been arguing? And committee is a part of that checks and balances process in Congress.
Yeah. And I think we're getting, specifically with this, I think they're running into a situation. So what happens next with this bill is going to go from the Senate to the House. And I think the chance that it passes as is low. The problem is if they change anything, it's got to go back through the Senate. And there are already people who are advocating for, hey, let's tie some defense spending. And then the big thing that's been kind of axed out of that is FISA, the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act. So that did not make it through, and that's
and this is what the second time.
Yeah,
this is the second time. Yeah,
and the key part in FISA is Section 702 that allows the collection of digital communication of foreign nationals. Including Americans. So
I was about to say, it says foreign nationals,
but
more like you national people,
right? Everyone who has some type of nationality,
yes,
can do it. And it's one of the NSA's biggest tools. And you think about the world we're in right now, with the situation with Iran, Lebanon, and Israel. You think about the situation with China and Taiwan. You think about the situation with Ukraine and Russia. And I am not advocating for this to pass. I want to be clear here. This is just the facts of the situation.
Yes, the facts of the situation.
You have an entire department, agency. This is their main tool is about getting security, aligning security,
yes,
making sure information is available to our leaders so they can make decisions. That tool is now no longer there. If all you do for a living is hammer nails and you now no longer have a hammer, look, man, them work boots are only going to take you so far trying to get those nails in. So to do that in the middle of all this international chaos, you're asking an agency to pivot in a way that you probably don't want them to pivot in the middle of a war.
Well, the leadership of these agencies, anyway, we'll talk about that later. I just want to know, where's Eric Snowden?
Right. I think he left for, I feel like he left for Russia.
He was in the airport for forever. Then I think he did make it to Russia. And I just bring that up. If you don't know, he was an NSA whistleblower from many, many years ago, and the government was after him, trying to lock him up, saying that if you heard of the term WikiLeaks, and we won't go down that.
Spilled the secrets.
Yeah, we won't go down that rabbit hole. But in this, in the FISA, as my brother said, I'm not saying this in support of it passing, because there are a lot of measures where there are no guardrails. There are no, again, here's that term, checks and balances. And that's the motto of this administration.
Yeah.
No checks and balances. We want to do things without any discretionary follow-up and just do what we want to do. And it's not safe for us, number one.
Right.
It's not how this was set up to operate. And finally, you open the door for even more corruption.
Yeah.
When there is no checks and balances.
I mean, on top of that, to give a tool that this powerful as being able to collect the data and the metadata on everyone, like I encourage everyone, pause this podcast for a very brief second, go to your photos, and then go look at the metadata of those photos that tell where exactly you were.
Where you took the picture, what time you took the picture, the day you took the picture, your geolocation, down to the longitude and latitude.
How much your phone was charged at the point, like
all the above.
All of it.
The megapixels, how much storage it took, all of it.
To give that to a government and specifically an agency that has shown its willingness to be able to pressure and go after its own citizens.
Yes.
Like, let's not even talk about wrong or right.
Then call them terrorists.
Right.
American citizens. And then call them anti-government.
Yeah.
American citizens.
Forget even talking about actual people who just aren't American citizens. We will do this to our own. So only imagine the limits that we are willing to take it to for people who aren't Americans.
For people who are saying things that we don't agree with or don't want to hear. Yeah. Or you're critical of us. I'm just saying.
And I think this provides a very interesting segue because as we get ready to hop into our second topic, we got a new nominee for America's lawyer. That's right.
Help us, Lord.
we told y'all this was coming, and I don't think anyone at any point thought that there was another option that was getting ready to play out here.
Oh no.
But on June 4th, Donald John Trump announced at a White House dinner that he was going to formally nominate acting Attorney General TODD Blanche as the permanent Attorney General. So he has been the acting Attorney General since April 2nd when Pam Bondi was stepped down, fired, terminated,
reallocated,
retired, redirected. Enter your verb here.
Yes.
Yeah, so since that point. So the nomination is going to head to the Senate Judiciary Committee where I think it's going to get real interesting real fast.
It's going to be fun. It will be fun.
Our good friend, my good friend, Tom Tillis, North Carolina Senator Tom Tillis is on that committee.
Tommy.
And one thing we know about Tom Tillis at this point in his career, he's got time and energy.
Time, energy, and 0 F's to give.
He's all out. Behold the field on which I grow my F's. Alas, see how it is barren.
Listen, and to bring some clarity to you all, like Manny said, he was acting AG, being that he was deputy AG when Pam was, enter your adjective here, or is it an adverb? Adverb.
Look,
it would be an adverb. Whatever.
Neither of us were English majors.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. However, enter it here, and whatever she did, so he was acting. But there's a certain time period where that comes to an end. You can no longer have acting. You have to have someone in an official capacity. And of course, it was no surprise to us. If you were surprised by this, I have an island in Wisconsin Nebraska, and Idaho to sell you. Just let you know.
Chuck, here's why that's
premium location.
Here's why that was funny. Because in my head, I said Wisconsin. So to hear you respond with Wisconsin, I was like, "Yep." Yeah. But no one should be shocked by this. No one should be shocked by this
at all. Everything that Trump has done has been setting up. And let me preface this by saying, I support nepotism. I support putting your people on. What I don't support is the corrupt aspect of putting your people on. I'm not for corruption.
This is the equivalent of me coaching a baseball team and knowing that my child cannot throw a ball 10 feet and putting them at shortstop.
Your child, this is equivalent to your child being scared of the ball. You being the coach of the baseball team, your child has no interest in playing baseball, but you still put them out there.
Yep.
Well, I'm not going to say no interest because TODD Blanche has interest in this. However,
should not be at this point. So
should not be.
One question I know you guys might have, and we haven't hopped into it, so we'll do some of that here. Who is TODD Blanche? TODD Blanche is Trump's former personal criminal defense attorney. So he represented Donald Trump in the New York hush money case, and he was confirmed. We will not take this from him. He was confirmed as the deputy attorney general in a 52-46 vote back in March of 2025. So a couple things that he's done as acting attorney general. He basically did a whole hoorah about purging 200 plus Department of Justice and FBI employees who worked on Trump-related investigations. He was also essentially the architect of this $1.8 billion anti-weaponization fund that, again, I've been oppressed. I plan on applying for. He's pursued the indictments for Comey and the CIA director Brennan, and he also strangely tried to appoint himself as the acting librarian of Congress. But that whole thing,
why would that be strange to you, brother?
It's strange that you would try to do something. So I think Trump does something, we expect him to do like really bold things. Mm-hmm. His people, for the most part, now I think we're seeing a transition in the Trump administration, and I'll hit that in a second. But they usually attempt to do something not blatantly illegal. They usually try to hide it. This is very clear that you can't really do this.
Well, they've been emboldened.
Yeah, this is true.
Like
this is very true. But I think we're seeing a change in it. So I think if you look back at a lot of administrations, Biden, Obama, Clinton, Bush, usually around the midpoint of it, you see turnover. People want to go into the private sector. You see it. So none of what we're saying is off base. None of what we're seeing, people leaving the administration, is strange or weird. It's usually, though, people leaving on their own will of accord, not people getting fired and not it being so loud. Usually they're very quietly done. There's like, hey, person A's here, person B's the person right now.
Yeah.
So, and we still got some more coming. Like Susie Wiles is going to be gone in a couple months. So we see this happening, but I think it's this wave 2 that's coming in that's real problematic.
Very problematic. Very.
And I think for Blanche, he's gotta kill the climb. Because in his situation right now, he can only lose about 4 votes on the floor. And then in committee, he can only really lose 1. And we already called out Tillis is going to be a problem for him.
Without question.
So even just looking at the Senate as it is, Tom Tillis, and he actually came out and put a quote. He said, no equivocation on January 6th is in my criteria. Not 1 minute. So he's already killed Ed Martin, and he's not seeking re-election, so he doesn't care.
Yep.
I think you got John Cornyn, who's, from all reports right now, is undecided, and Trump pissed him off.
Not only have you stood over this man and pooped on him, and then tried to come back, we appreciate what he did, but you should have just stayed out of it.
Yeah.
You should have just stayed out of it and not endorsed anybody.
And if anyone's questioning where John Cornyn is right now, his quote on this right now is, being attorney general is probably one of the hardest jobs in the cabinet because you're working for the president, but you're also supposed to be able to tell the president no.
And that's not, we have not seen anything telling us that Blanche is going to be able to say no. Like, we've told you how entangled and entrenched they are in each other's lives. Personal attorney, because the attorney, when he got his 34 felonies with the IRS and leaking of his information, I'm willing to bet that he was the architect and brainchild of the lawsuit. Not only of the lawsuit, but as Manny said, the resolution and compromise that they came up with for the lawsuit, and the fund and the IRS deal. Nothing shows us that he's capable of saying no.
And I think it's a very interesting play here because it could die in judiciary. But if Tillis holds and Cornyn breaks and the committee is deadlocked, Trump, I think there's a very good chance that Trump just leaves him acting indefinitely. There's no real thing. You can't really force him. You can't force him to appoint someone as attorney general. But I think I think Trump doesn't like to publicly look like he's taken an L. So I think if, things start swirling around that, like, hey, he's gonna catch an L here. We've seen him do it with other people. Like, you're not going to get through confirmation. I'm not taking this L publicly. Either you are going to remove yourself or I'm going to remove you. And me removing you is still going to look like you are removing yourself.
And that's what a lot of these firings have been. Yep. Oh, they're going on to pursue some other things that they really love to do. No, I really wanted to do this. That's why I came on board to do this role. Oh, now she wants to step away to be with her husband because, he has cancer. No, we had that worked out.
Yeah.
So yeah, but you're right. He does not want to be seen as taking an L. He does not want to be seen as a non-negotiator, being able to make the best deals.
Yep.
So it's going to be interesting.
It's the question. The questioning is going to be interesting because I think he's going to be asked or at least questions I would ask if I'm on the committee. If you were Trump's defense attorney, how are you going to handle a situation where there's going to be, it's not if, it's a when question, when the case is brought up against the president and you had to prosecute that? How are you going to reconcile that? Like the closest thing that we've seen to something like this was RFK acting as JFK's attorney general. Like, that's the closest we've kind of seen to this.
Yeah.
But there's so many questions about the relationship that I think are getting ready to come out. And I think what will be interesting is if I'm Trump and I'm Blanche, I'm getting real nervous about the questions I'm getting ready to get asked publicly that I now have to answer.
You have to answer under oath, yes.
Yeah. How many dead situations are going to be given new life because new questions are asked?
I know
Potentially
one.
a lot.
I know one.
Bro.
The
And Pam
Epstein
Bondi,
questions.
yeah, Pam Bondi set him up for the okie doke. And when she came out in her hearing and said, I let him handle all of this.
Oh yes.
Game.
Yes. It as we say, those coals being raked up under him.
It's gonna be hot.
It's gonna be hot.
It's gonna be hot.
Now the question is, if it fails and if it stalls, will the Republicans push Trump to get a new nominee? Will they have the gumption to force his hand? Because here we are. There's something else that you're gonna want.
Yeah.
So we quid pro quo.
Yep.
And so that's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Because what we have on the table is this War Powers Act situation. At the same time,
Man. At the same,
we got this nomination. Hey, I'm sorry, y'all.
Yeah,
but yeah, so it's gonna be very interesting to see how this plays out, and then I'll give you this if you give me that,
right?
And if he puts up a different nominee, and then we see the individuals who kind of I don't say turn their back on him, but kind of flip the aisle in regards to this War Powers Act resolution. Will they kind of walk it back if he presents someone else who is more palatable for them to get through confirmation? Who knows?
Who knows?
But that's how the game goes, y'all. That's how the game goes.
But that's not the only nomination we heard about.
Now, this is the one where you are the coach. Your kid can't walk and chew gum at the same time. They barely can walk and they barely can chew gum independently.
Struggling in both.
But you know what? I love my kid, so I'm going to put them out there anyway. That's what this is.
But before we hop into this, I think now is the right time for the public service announcement that I want everyone to listen real closely. You can be whoever you want to be. Because on June 2nd, Trump announced on Truth Social that Bill Pulte, the FHFA director, the Fannie Mae chairman, Freddie Mac chairman, would serve as... Hold on.
The businessman and social media personalities.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep. We have to throw that in there.
Yes. Is that he will serve as the acting director of national intelligence, replacing Tulsi Gabbard, effective June 30th when she leaves. I don't know any other way to say this next line, so I'm just going to say it like this. This man has zero intelligence experience.
No.
Their report...
Negative. Like intelligence experience.
No military. He carries no security clearance history. No,
he didn't even have to do an interview for somebody else who was getting security clearance. Like, what game are we playing? Like, this is not some arbitrary cabinet position. This is not HUD. Heck, this is not Health and Human Services, which they've mucked that up
right
royally. But
he does have one thing going for him, and I think it's his biggest sell and why Trump said yes. What Pulte was able to do turning a regulating agency into a political data machine, the way that he was able to use, mortgage data only because he had access it to file the criminal complaints against Lisa Cook, Letitia James, and Adam Schiff. He drove all those employees out of the Federal Housing Department. He was really good at that. And I can only imagine what someone who was able to do that with just mortgage data would be able to do with all of the data in national intelligence.
All right, everybody bow your head. We're about to pray.
Yes, Lord.
Lord, we come before you right now.
Yes, Father.
Just saying thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you for covering us.
Covering us every day.
Thank you for being in the midst. But you also have a request.
Yes.
At any moment that you want to go and put your sandals on and crack that sky and say, stop this foolishness. I don't know if I'm going to be mad at you. Well, what is going on, my brother?
In Jesus' name.
In Jesus' name. Y'all, when I pray, I be talking to God like, hey, like he one of the boys in the group chat.
Amen.
That's how I was brought up. Hey, you people who say they feel uncomfortable, talk to them. Just holler at them. And I be like, hey, bro,
because
what's really good?
No, and I think that's important because, like, if I'm going to God with a question, I don't need him to answer me in King James Version. I don't. It's too much time for me have to mentally, like, okay, this meant
you ain't got the translation.
Right. No, look, I need God to answer me in either amplified, so I can get the kind. I need the amplified when God
or the new translation,
like the American Standard. I'm good with that one, or the New International Version. I can't handle Job. If you go back and read the book of Job, or for Trump, I'm sorry if you're listening, the book of Job.
Yes,
the book of Job. That's how he lamented to God and said, God, I don't understand and I'm big mad.
I was your dog. You know, it reminds me of the DMX song. You used to be my dog. You was in my lip titty. We got to ride or die. Oh, I'm sorry, y'all. But yeah, that's what Job was for me. Like, read Job. The book of Job is pretty dope. This is I can't even say it's nuts because it's Trump.
Right.
It's Trump.
And I just don't understand if you have one thing we can't say about Blanche, that he holds enough legal, well, we can't say that, but he's a lawyer.
He's a lawyer.
Attorney general. I can connect those dots. I cannot connect the dots. You have zero national intelligence, like zero experience. You're coming from an agency. Had he even been in the FBI, like
something. If he was in the reserves,
we talk about Pete Hegseth. We ain't talked about him in a couple episodes, but you know what? He was at least in the military. We know he has a basic understanding of how the military works. I don't know.
Although that video where he caught himself being out there with those sailors,
it was wild.
Yeah, super wild. But yeah, at least Tosi was a military officer.
Right. Understood that. And even more so, she was in Congress getting those briefings.
That too.
Had at minimum a security clearance.
At minimum, she knew what door to walk in. At minimum.
Bathroom is 4 doors down on the right. She had been to the building before.
At minimum. Bill?
Right.
Bill's too busy on TikTok.
But I'm just out here trying to do the dance.
Listen, if you're out there and you could provide us with some kind of insight and understanding to this nomination, hit us up, because we're bewildered.
And
We're befuddled.
I think
and
there's
we got
no way this
beatitude.
passes. Well, look, this is why I don't think this is going anywhere. John Thune, Majority Leader Thune, said this quote: "We don't need a weaponized DNI. We need professionals there. If he's somebody they want in that position permanently, he's got a lengthy road ahead of him." And this is somebody who is on your side saying this.
Has been on your side. You're right. You know what? And I also want to point out, this is DEI.
Right.
This is
DEI.
this is everything that y'all claimed was happening in many other sectors.
Mm-hmm.
He's not qualified. Has no propensity of showing competency in this realm. But guess what? Put him up for the job.
Yeah.
On top of firing all of these highly qualified, highly decorated individuals, removing them from the military, not promoting individuals who are deserving of promotion. Let's not look at one of them.
And Trump was asked, what his justification is. And he said, William has a deep experience managing the most sensitive matters in America, the safety and soundness of the markets, and over $10 trillion at Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac.
He knows how to move money.
if you don't go sit down and drink your Ensure, go take a nap. Like, that's your justification? That is what you expect to get him over the hump? Sir.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
There's no need to even continue with this. Like, this is a mess.
Yeah. Now, here's what I do think could happen. I think that he fails so spectacularly.
That's a great way to put it.
That I think they'll time it. I think, because I don't know who will hit committee first. If Blanche hits the committee first and it starts not going well, like it starts going bad, I think they accelerate Pulte, because Pulte is not going to go well either. No. And I think it is it goes so poorly that Trump pulls them both, but allows Pulte to take the fall. Because how do I snatch Blanche away without causing any real attention? I let Pulte explode in a blaze of glory. Then Pulte can go hop on TikTok and do an interview with the president, and go ahead start his media career.
Yeah, okay, I can see that. It's the easiest out.
Yeah,
it is definitely the easiest out.
What is the response? How do you get yourself out of the situation that you put yourself in, that people told you should not be putting yourself into that position?
Yeah, you're right.
So yeah, that is Bill Pulte, and Well, here we've now reached the point in the podcast where Jeezy would hop in and bring you the pickle of the week. But we're not going to have the pickle of the week.
No.
We're going to have the chairman's moment of chaos.
Oh, I like that. All right.
The chairman's moment of chaos.
We don't have any sound for this, but
yeah.
something. It's chaotic.
So, Chuck, who's got a moment of chaos this week?
Brother, I'm actually glad you said it in that fashion because this is actually very chaotic. Hey, Jared Kushner, Ivanka Trump. Oh, you cause some chaos, I tell you. For those who don't know, Ivanka and Jared have plans to transform, and I'm going to tear this up, but such is life. Sazan Island in Albania. They, have an ultra luxury eco resort planned. And this is backed by Jared Kushner's private equity firm, Affinity Partners. And
What? What?
Not them again.
No.
And this is an estimated 1.4 billion euro project, and it has ignited. That's an understatement.
Yeah.
It hasn't ignited. It hasn't ignited protests. Protest has been a bomb.
Oh, yeah.
Explosion in Albania. So here's the proposed development. Its location in Sazan is Albania's largest and only undeveloped island, featuring a rugged landscape and a decommissioned Cold War military base. But here's the thing. This was a federally protected land. This was a land that was I was about to say ecological. Yeah.
Ecological. Yep, that's the right one.
Ecological, ecologically protected. And the government, in some underhanded way, kind of pulled back the regulations and greenlit this project to go forward.
Yep.
And when this happened, oh my. The protests. What happened or what started in Albania makes the No Kings protests
Child's play. Child's play.
Look like a day of students walking in the hallway in line.
Yep.
Is what it makes it look like. So demonstrators rallied against this in the hundreds of thousands on consecutive days. They're probably still protesting.
It's still going right now as we speak.
Yeah. And it's been dubbed as the Flamingo Revolution. I'm lying to you not. That's what they call it.
If I'm lying, I'm flying. But here I am, right on the ground.
And they say that they adopted the pink flamingo as a symbol of the wildlife that they say will be destroyed if this project goes ahead. This is a ecological area that is undisturbed. Outside of that military base, it's a protected zone, and there is a flamingo habitation there, but also just the way that the Albanian government went about fast tracking and repealing some of the federal protections and the legal guidelines that were already in place for this resort to move forward did not sit well with the people. There was no public consultation. There was no committee. There was what we talked about earlier with our people. There was no chance for people to give a rebut. It was backroom deals, shaking hands, money exchange, assumingly, and then this was announced. Mm-hmm. So right now, the plan is to still move forward right now, but at the level that they turn it up,
I think you said it perfectly that the people down there in the Flamingo Revolution are
Yes, sir.
making No Kings look like child's play. For them
Yes.
to have be out in the streets carrying pink flamingo cutouts and
And
chanting
inflatable ones.
right, chanting "Nation not for sale." And then I also think it's funny the shots that they're throwing over other places saying, "I don't want Albania like Dubai." I said, "Oh man, y'all are going out." And then to hear Ivanka's response to it, calling it a lucky discovery. What?
Yeah.
But I will also say this is what checks and balances look like.
Yes.
So I
Yes.
think the other part, Albania is, I think the group that it's called is SPAC, SPAK, was established in 2019 with a backlog saying, hey, these are high corruption things. We want you to investigate these things. And they are investigating it and they're calling out things that need to be called out. So
Yeah.
kudos to y'all, Albania. And man, yeah, Albania.
Ivanka
Jared.
and Jared, you got some chaos on your hands. Albanian government, you created some chaos.
Yeah.
So there we are.
So man, well, we're coming to that time in the episode where we'd like to just talk about some things that the media is not necessarily watching or not watching as loudly with our spotlights of the week. And Chuck, I'll kick it to you. What is your spotlight of the week?
Brother. Well, my spotlight it's been talked about. But the fashion that has been talked about, I don't know if they talked about it nearly enough.
Or probably not the way we need to talk about it.
That's what I was about to say. Or it wasn't talked about in the way that we needed to be talked about. So, if you have not heard, SpaceX is about to have their IPO on this week. I want to say it's the 12th is the prospective date for their IPO. And for those who don't know, IPO is initial purchase offering. And they're going on to have a NASDAQ listing. And that NASDAQ listing ticker is SPCX. And they're looking to drop shares at the tune of a projected targeting IPO price of $135 a share, offering 556.6 million shares, aiming to raise $75 billion at a valuation of $1.75 trillion, which would make this the largest IPO in stock market history. Wonderful. I hope you hear the sarcasm. But here's my thing. There are a lot of rules that are set in place when IPOs happen. There are a lot of safeguards and guardrails that are put in place when IPOs happen. Guess what, people? These safeguards, guardrails, and rules have been rolled back, have been repealed, have been taken down. I won't dive too deep because this is the spotlight, and I just want to make you aware of this. This is for educational purposes and informational. But here's the thing. Number one, I don't trust Elon. That's number one. You saw what he did with Doge. You seen what he's done with other things, but I don't trust Elon. Now, this push to go public is driven largely by the spectacular growth of Starlink. I don't trust Starlink. Starlink, if for you who don't know, is SpaceX's satellite internet service, allowing you to have access to the internet anywhere you go, with connecting to a satellite in the sky, no matter the remote location that you are. In theory, you're supposed to be able to have a internet connection via that satellite. You can also, it affords those who live in rural areas the opportunity to have access to an internet connection that's more reliable than many of the offerings that's available to them now. There are some cell phones that are already equipped to be able to take advantage of Starlink. Some of your carriers have already set deals in place with SpaceX to have that capability automatically on your phone because the chips are already in your phone. Kind of the reason I haven't upgraded my phone, but we won't talk about that. But here's the thing. As far as this IPO, the mathematics of this valuation don't make sense. The $1.75 trillion range for this valuation is insane. Just to give you an idea, SpaceX reported a $2.6 billion loss in 2025.
Like they spent more money than they took in. Just so I'm clear.
If their books was a bank account statement, it would be red.
Okay, thank you for that clarity.
Yes, sir. So you lost $2.6 billion just last year, but you want us to raise $75 billion on your behalf with the IPO, and I'm supposed to feel good about this? This is like giving your money to your cousin who don't ever pay you back, and they keep coming asking you for money. That's what that's like. And then also, as I stated, these red flags, there's more. Guess how much voting power Elon will control with this IPO? For those who don't know, when you purchase stock, you're a shareholder. You have a certain percentage of voting power as a shareholder consummate to how much stock you hold. Yeah, it's not going to be the case here. Elon will retain roughly 85% of voting control of SpaceX, giving minority shareholders very limited influence, power, governance. 85%. One man. Kanye eloquently said no one man should have all this power. So much so that there's a private equity fund in Denmark that has blacklisted this stock. This fund holds over $25 billion. And they said their exact words were, the governance structure of this is catastrophic. And the stock is grossly overvalued. But furthermore, the valuation aside, the governance is enough to give pause for them with him holding 85% of voting power. Now let's look at this. It is theorized that this IPO has been set up to help fund and pay for the AI race. I told you that Elon was just in a court case with OpenAI and their founder. He lost. Shocker there. But also, he took his ex-AI company that he spun off and created after leaving OpenAI as one of their chief and primary funders. And he merged XAI with SpaceX. and caused a conglomerate. And as my good brother Manny has told you, this AI race has not only become more and more expensive, it's costing these companies more and more money.
Whole lot of money.
In fact, XAI lost $6 billion in 2025 and is projected to burn through $10 billion in 2026. So if we're doing math, we have a loss of $2.6 billion by SpaceX, a loss of $6 billion by XAI in 2025. So we're at 8.6 million with a projected 10 billion loss this year. That puts us at 18.6. And the cost of AI is not getting any cheaper. Now, they try to get a little reprieve and say, well, Starlink turned a profit. Well, Starlink can't fund SpaceX and XAI. So guess what they want to do? Get you to fund it. But one of my biggest concerns was the regulatory peel back of how soon that SpaceX can be accessed by the markets and by the I'm losing the term, retail consumer,
Retail investors,
retail investor. They've peeled that back. Normally, isn't what is it? I was about to say 6 months. It's an extended period of time before retail investors can get their hands on it from a 401k standpoint, not to purchase the IPO. You can purchase the IPO, but before it's available for you to access through ETFs, which primarily, I can say primarily, it all depends on the structure of your 401k. But where many 401ks, especially nowadays, have shifted to stabilize and or get a gain on your 401k, a lot of it has gone into the tech sector. Well, this safeguard to allow for an IPO to have shown some stability over time, because that's what it's for. Not just somebody hot in the moment, stock to come in, take off, you put your money in it, you shift, and not have a full diversification of your funds, and you jump in it, and then it tanks, and now your money's gone.
Yep.
And now you've put in 20-something years at this big company making X amount of money, and when you retire, you got to go be a greeter at Walmart to supplement your income. That's what these safeguards are for. But the government said, oh, no, this is Elon. This is our boy. I'm going to pull this back. Remember them losses I told y'all about? There's many people who are apprehensive, not so much about the IPO as it is about the government peeling back these regulations and safeguards so cavalier. Be careful, people. Now, there are ways to make money off this. Research them. Take advantage of them. Because there's going to be a bunch of money made. But there's a lot of caution that's afoot. It's particularly for an extended period of time with this IPO. That's my spotlight, brother.
Once again, this is not a financial podcast, and we are not financial experts. So please do consult a professional when investing. But yeah, this is something we'll be keeping our eye on. Oh man, well, for my spotlight, Chuck, you remember when we did that prayer and we wanted just, if the good Lord's ready, come on down. Go ahead and throw on them Air Moses 7s and make your way down. Because the chaos continues. So, on top of all the other good news here in America, because we're just chock full of good news at this standpoint,
Man.
a flesh-eating parasite that America eradicated from our ecosystem 60 years ago just showed up in a Texas calf. And on top of gas prices, on top of food prices also going up, we are now potentially seeing an impact in our beef industry. So on June 3rd, the USDA confirmed the detection of the New World screwworm in a 3-week-old calf in Zavala County, Texas.
Sounds about right.
Yep, we'll go with that. The larvae was found in a calf's umbilical cord area, and we haven't seen screwworm in the United States since 1966. So a screwworm is a fly larvae that enters living flesh and leaves behind open wounds that it will essentially just kill cattle in about a week. But not only can they go after cattle, they can hit dogs, cats, birds, and humans. So, yeah. And it moves pretty fast. So how we essentially got here is when it started, there was a big effort from the U.S. to just push it back. And we did. We pushed it all the way back into Central America to kind of keep everything at bay. So there was a very large biological barrier. What the U.S. largely did was take engineered flies, I'll call them, and release them into the ecosystem to basically keep it at bay. Well, it's been progressively making its way all the way through Central America, and basically it was a very slow collapse. So COVID in 2022 slowed the production of all these flies to keep them at bay. In Panama, they do see cases, but in 2023, they saw their number of cases jump from 25 cases a year to an excess of 6,500 cases. So barrier's gone. It's making its way.
Terrible.
In November of 2024, did anything happen in November of 2024? I can't put my finger on it, but
some big event that people made a hoopla about. Oh,
yeah, okay. But the first cases were confirmed in Mexico. At that point, the USDA ramped up mitigation efforts. Congress was being briefed, and people were yelling very loudly about it. A couple months later, in May 25, the USDA said, "Hey, we don't want any livestock imports from Mexico." The very first time we've closed our borders to that standpoint. And cases were found about 700 miles from the U.S. border. Then something happened in the spring, and there was a Doge, and Doge came in. And I feel like we haven't been able to do an episode without talking about Doge causing impacts. But Doge did a 15% cut to the USDA workforce. And in that killed about 5,300 plus grants, including a screwworm monitoring project. So,
no way.
Yeah. So that hasn't been here in years. We don't need this. So in July 2025, there were some cases that were then reported 370 miles from the U.S. border. That's a lot of miles for a fly. I'm just saying. Flies ain't but that big. It's a lot of miles and a lot of time. So from July 2025 to September, screwworm was detected in Nuevo Leon, Mexico, which is about 70 miles from the U.S. border. So this year, the USDA said, okay, dump all the flies. Send all the flies to southern Mexico. Let's try to stop it. And then by late May, it was detected 25 miles from the U.S. border, and 1 week later, it ended up crossing it. And that leads us today, where we have now seen, that first case hop into the U.S. And now, as of June 5th, there's been a second confirmed case from a 1-month-old calf about 6 miles away from the first calf. And so Governor Abbott has expanded and created a disaster declaration and is deploying all state resources. Then following up, Canada has now said, hey, y'all, we don't need any livestock from Texas. So go ahead and keep all that down there. We spent years developing this control. And we've seen it fall apart since COVID. We can't put this all on the administration. It's a systematic, roll down. But we obviously didn't help it. Now, a lot of the infrastructure to stop it is focusing on producing these flies. So there is a Panama group that puts out basically 100 million flies a week. And it's the only operational facility, but it's only about 90% funded by the USDA, and it was built in 2026. There's been another production facility that started its groundbreaking in April, but it's not going to be operational until November 2027, and it won't be at full capacity until 2028. So this is something that is going to wreak havoc. I think that is easily going to be a problem, and to think that America has been paying record high beef prices over the last year. Part of that is because we closed off, livestock from Mexico. And we closed it off in hopes of stopping this, and that did not work.
And then they say we're gonna get the beef from Argentina.
That's what we said. That's what we said. And then on top of that, I feel, again, farmers in a larger situation. Yeah, because already they were looking at cattle herds that I believe were at like a 70-year low. Haven't had cattle this small, herds this small. So now you take away a major country in which you export those to. Now you're also having to try to protect your herd. This is real money we're losing. This is not theoretical things that we can just say, oh, we'll deal with that. That's something we kind of need to react and deal with now. And to eliminate and cut, and this isn't the only program that had been cut and impacted. And there are questions about, we see the dismantling of the underwater detection system that took us 25 years to set up, that we're turning off.
When I saw that, and what are y'all thinking?
Right. And for those of you that are like, well, what is that detection? It's used to monitor the seafloor and seabed. I think one of the biggest recent topics that we heard about this underwater detection thing is with Ocean Gate picking up that the submarine imploding when it happened. Yeah. Like, we keep disabling and shutting down programs just because
that have been beneficial.
Right. Just because things aren't an issue now doesn't mean the infrastructure that is linked to it is still not important to keep those things running. So obviously this is going to be another squeeze on the farmers. This is going to be another squeeze on American dollars. And we were already seeing the habits of consumers switching away from beef because of the price of that. And again, this can potentially not only just impact beef. While they're the target, it can affect other different types of cattle. So the ripple effect that we are now going to start seeing because of this, in a time that we're already being hit from the left and the right, it's going to be a situation. And it's going to be a readily evolving situation, because now the question is, from our southern border, how do we prevent it from going further? How do we start pushing it back? What other resources can we deploy to address it? The Republican nominee for the Texas Agriculture Commissioner called this an agricultural agricultural emergency. I mean, I don't think there's a better way to describe this. But I think the question for the administration is, how do we prevent this emergency to turning into a disaster?
James Tellerico. It's at the rim. The ball is at the rim. It's at the rim.
And I think the larger question, I think the American people now also have to look at with this is, can we depend on our government to solve hard problems?
No. I can tell you no. Now, there's just like this screwworm had been eradicated, hadn't been seen since 1966. I think it was the year that they said we had measles outbreaks this year.
We did.
We haven't had measles outbreaks since eons ago, decades ago.
Yeah.
Like things that we have had a handle on are starting to rear its head because of, like you said it perfectly, Manny, just because we don't see a problem now does not mean we can stop and it won't be a problem in the future. Because they made that push for, we don't need measles vaccines. Oh, okay. Okay.
Until you get measles.
Until you get it.
So, if you want to follow this, there has been a site put out there. It's called screwworm.gov. And in any other context, I would tell you guys this sounds like a completely made up government website, but it's not. So you can check there. That's the USDA's, them watching it, them posting news. But this is something that we have to get a hold on now. Can we get containment? Is containment actually a realistic goal for this situation? I'm not an expert. If any of our listeners out there are experts in animal science, I would love to find out if containment is even feasible, or whether we need to start thinking about option B, C, D, and E for dealing with this situation.
Well, it was at one point because they had it contained, handled, and eradicated.
Yeah. So that is my spotlight of the week. And with that, we've hit the conclusion of this episode. Chuck, any thoughts, statements you want to get off your chest?
Brother, there's so much, but for the sake of time, only thing I have to say is World Cup is starting this week.
It is.
First match is on Thursday the 11th. I think I saw a report that there's still 70,000 hotel rooms available here in Atlanta, out of what they estimated, because, people have screwed things up with this World Cup being in the States. But I'm excited.
No.
I'm ready for
no.
Somebody did
US.
something. Yeah. But I'm excited for the games. I'm excited to see what's going to happen. That's all I have, man. World Cup. Let's go.
Well, cool. Well, yeah, go USA. Yeah, we're gonna pull. I'm gonna pull for the home team as much, but I will very quickly adopt another team once we probably get bounced in group stage. And we'll go.
You get my support when you get my support when you show me you worth it. Yeah, get to the round of 16, then I'll root for you.
And I think it's safe to say that was just a purely soccer comment. That wasn't even a comment on politics.
No, straight soccer. Straight soccer.
So we want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please like, share, follow, comment. We're here. We're talking back with you guys. Let us know your thoughts. And remember, as we always say here at the pod, if don't no one else love you guys, then you already know the boys here at the pod. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we will catch you guys at the next episode.
Peace.